Over the past 2 decades this website has existed, countless creators have spent hundreds of hours recreating weapons, items, and other stuff from games, including myself. But after 20 long years of building, the community has recreated almost everything, with one major exception. One item that other smarter YouTubers have been too scared to touch. Am I calling them cowards? No, the guy who does my graphics is.
You're all a bunch of
No, those cowards probably just saw the danger, agony, and legal trouble. Are we getting pulled over? That recreating this one specific item would bring. The holy grail of video game weapons, something that's been reimagined and partially recreated, but never actually tested physically. It's the shell from Mario Kart. And we're doing things the right way, with speed data from the games, true to scale models of the shells, and rockets you have to get a special license to buy, for some reason. And this. It's a car. My car. Because just like the game, we're gonna fire all 3 that we built and put giant rocket engines in off the top while I'm inside driving. And I'm like 99% sure this is 100% legal to do. 98%. At first glance, I wasn't sure why nobody's done this yet. All you need to do is take a big old turtle shell and somehow propel it off a moving vehicle and then have something good to hit. But the more we thought about it, the more we realized there's a physics problem making this all pretty hard. I mean, there's a reason Mother Nature didn't give turtles rocket engines. Allow me to explain. But before we do that, yes, we switched the real turtle out for this fake turtle before we launched it. Now, our shell's design is not too complex. It's not rocket science, but the rocket science part, well, that's rocket science. And there's some nuance to making this shape fly correctly at high speeds, and we'd need a wind tunnel to show you why. And we don't have that. But I do have an economy Japanese SUV with a stick on it and a road. It's essentially a wind tunnel you don't have to pay to use. Why bring the wind to the shell when you can bring the shell to the wind? Now, this is also a great way to show exactly what would happen to the shell in the air at speed, say if we launched it off the car. And you can see, every time the wind hits it, it wants to point up, which means if we fired it in a rocket, it would just keep backflipping and then probably explode. Which means this is probably a lot more involved than I would have hoped. But before we go any further, what is success here? Well, in the game, you pick up an item block, get the shells, then you fire them from your cart at enemies, injuring them greatly. The way I see it, we just need something that looks exactly like this, is the correct size, fires at roughly the same speed, comes from a drivable car, and can hit a target with enough force to push it off course. From an engineering perspective, it should be as simple as stick a big rocket to it. A solution for almost all things in life. Ultimately, it just needs some design changes, not too hard. The actual hard part, doing it all from a moving vehicle. That just kind of requires something inherently dangerous. But before we start, we have to collect some data from the game, namely how fast and how big these things should be. And measuring the speed is actually pretty easy. We started by loading up a copy of Mario Kart and finding a straight strip of track. Then turned on the speedometer and drove down that straight part at a constant speed, say 65 kilometers per hour. Then once we have the speed in kilometers per hour and how many seconds it took to cover it, we get the distance of that track. Then we just line up a red shell with no target, fire it, and wait for it to come back around on the track, timing exactly how long it takes to clear the straight. Then we just divide the distance we know from measuring over the time that it took to get our target shell speed. And for size, we can just kind of look at it and see that in almost every game, it's head size.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably it. Honestly, I'd rather use the rest of this music bed I paid to license to show off my awesome pool full of Orbeez. Oh shit. So first up, 3D printing the shells, which is both the easiest method and also, if printed correctly, can simulate almost the same strength as actual bone. Almost. So in our testing, we found out that the shells never really go faster than normal car speeds, which at that point completely rules out our plan A, which was using high-powered rockets. Which I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with. Sure, the games don't dictate that the shells go fast enough for a rocket to be appropriate, but the games are dumb. You see, I don't trust that the shells are only going 69 miles per hour because when they hit stuff, they flip a go-kart and a person between 1.5 and 5 meters in the air, which, if you trust questionable internet fanboys again for reliable information, then at 3.35 kg per shell, the shells in the game would have to go either 236 miles an hour or 275 miles an hour, depending on which shell you're talking about. So yes, we're ignoring my initial math because this guy did actual math. So let's just ignore our initial calculated speed altogether and get to the fun part, building. Yeah, we just put a big rocket motor in it. And I want to pretend we did more than that, but we didn't. And that's for two reasons. One, we're only kind of sure this won't work. We didn't have enough money to test how stable this would actually be when firing, so this is the second best way. And two, this is actually more financially responsible than running any kind of simulation. And maybe it'll just work. We'll say for the first time in this video, do not do this. Science, what does it say? Don't do this. All right, don't do this. Science is cool, but it can kill you sometimes. Now, some of that warning may feel a little unnecessary because, admittedly, this isn't easy to do, mainly because we're not using regular off-the-shelf model rocket kit rocket motors. That would look like this. So we had to kick it up a little bit. Generally, rocket motors are categorized from letters A to G based on how big and powerful they are. We decided none of them were powerful enough for our application, so we had to go with something a little bit different. With this. It's an H. Yeah, apparently the motors just go past the G rating, so we just have to buy the next size up, which is an H-size motor, which you do need to apply for a license for before you can buy them, but how hard could that be? Oh, fuck! I got denied. Fuck! And not to complain, but for less money and likely less time, I determined that I could have successfully gotten certified too. Own a gun, own a spider monkey, drive a forklift, drive an 18-wheeler, become a licensed alligator trapping agent, launch commercial fireworks, and legally marry someone. But I digress. We don't have the certificate, so I guess we're not going to be able to get those rockets. We got the motors. And for legal ambiguity, we're never going to discuss me or my wire transfer to Indiana ever again. Let's get to testing. So we took to the desert to test the aerodynamics of our unaltered shell, and already, there were issues.
Whoa.
Not that. First off, the weather looked like it was ready to rain at any second, which is bad, and two, everyone seemed to have concerns.
So our biggest concern is that there's going to be this 5-pound plastic thing that's going to could hit us and kill us.
Yes. Unfortunately, there was no time to resolve that as we had already set the rocket and laid the launch box wire expertly.
Let me fucking do this.
So, it was time to launch.
There's actually no way to fail at this. First permutation, it works perfect. It flies straight, hits the mannequin, and we're good to go. Second option, it spins out of control and we know that this doesn't work. There is a third option. It hits a car or somebody and then there's a lawsuit and a lot of money. It's got to change hands. All right, shell is armed. We're behind our protective bush. Should be ready to go.
Ready, give me count.
All right, shell V1 test. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Misfire, misfire, misfire. Don't approach for 2 minutes. It probably the igniter went bad.
Remember when I said there was 3 options on what could happen? There is a 4th one, which is that we don't know why it didn't go off, and then it just turns into a grenade that we don't know if the pin is in or not.
Naturally, this needed to be defused, but I didn't want to put any of our important crew members in danger to remove it. So we sent Joe. He was the closest, and he has the best safety lane in the biz. And with Joe alive and a new motor in, we were good to go.
All right, we're back.
Okay, well, we'll try one more time and see what happens.
All right, trying it again in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Let me just do it. Can I count it down?
Go for it.
3, 2, 1.
All right, so that didn't work. But that's good. We now know it doesn't work. And it's on fire. Hold on. Joe is running with the fire extinguisher. Okay. So it's not the most aerodynamic thing in the world, but you know what is? And that's all thanks to this video's sponsor, Manscaped.
Manscaped.
Oh! You see, I used to be pretty hairy, which honestly ruined my life and my look in a couple different ways. But that was until I found Manscaped. And you can see the difference that a fresh buzz can make. Looking good.
And thank goodness I did, because it's not just what you shave, it's what you shave it with. Manscaped sent me their Performance Package 5.0 and it had everything I needed to overhaul my self-care. Like the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, which takes grooming precision to a whole new level with their next-gen dual skin-safe blade heads, featuring upgraded trimmer blade and interchangeable foil blade. But that's just one part of a massive package. You also get a tag team of Manscaped's Crop Soother Aftershave and Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, both of which are perfectly crafted to keep you feeling cool and comfortable from morning to night. If you go back and watch my older videos, there are about a dozen shots of my face that are ruined by nose hair, or things suspended in my nose hair, which is where the Weed Whacker 2.0 comes in handy. It gets in my genetically very gifted nose and cleans out all the nasty hair and junk that probably protected me as a caveman. And it can even help shave the smaller things I'm not so genetically gifted in. So head over to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra today. When you use my promo code NOVAVERY, you'll get 20% off plus free international shipping plus the 2 free gifts. That's 20% off plus free shipping and 2 free gifts with promo code NOBITRATE at manscaped.com. And maybe, just maybe, you can look as smooth as me. Whoa, yeah, nope, just a little bit. Okay, back to the video. That didn't work. And it's no surprise, because instead of modeling any of this or simulating a launch in some sort of rocket launch software, all we did was stick it to the top of a 27-year-old car and call it a day. Well, that, and I did put a CO2 canister on a plastic turtle like 10 minutes ago, and it did do the same thing midair, but that's neither here nor there. So, for V2, we're doing the exact same thing. Kinda. But for good reason this time. You see, the game-accurate shell was no good at being a missile because it wasn't shaped like a missile. And that's because generally, things designed to do serious damage are always shaped like this. And that's because this shape greatly increases the stability of whatever you're hucking. So we can make our projectile more stable by doing 2 things. 1, adding fins, and 2, rebalancing the weight of the craft. Fins, because they do a great job of restoring the shell should it get knocked off balance in the air. Their surface area and weight help to push the back end of the rocket back into place should it be blown off course. And 2, once you have the fins on there to correct for any aerodynamic instability, you still need to balance the craft in 2 different ways. First is finding the center of mass, which is the point where both sides of the craft are balanced weight-wise. And then you need to find the center of pressure, which is a little harder to explain. So much so that even NASA doesn't have a good, concise explanation and simply says the center of pressure is the single point on the craft by which all aerodynamic forces act through. And if that's not confusing enough, then they supply you with the one thing that's 100% designed to scare interested people away from anything cool. A boring school textbook flavor diagram that's mostly letters. I couldn't make this interesting if I tried, and I did.
Huh, still sucks.
So we're gonna focus on what matters. For our application, think of the center of pressure as a bunch of bad air that's going to push our craft around while it's flying. If the center of pressure is anywhere in front of the center of mass point, say in the tip of the shell, then the bad air wind can just push down on that point and spin it out of control when we launch. But if that center of pressure is behind the center of mass, then the front of the craft can just kind of go all eye of the tiger and push through while all the air stuff at the back of the craft gets corrected by the fin. TLDR, we need the center of pressure to be behind the center of mass so that when you launch it, it's not horribly unstable. And sure, we could do some crazy calculations or go to a wind tunnel to find it, but in reality, there's one thing that even NASA hasn't tried. Sticking the rocket to the top of a 1996 Suzuki X90. Checkmate, idiots. Now, instead of doing a bunch of hard math to make sure that our craft would be stable at rocket speed, we could just guess and build it the way we think rockets should look, and then put it on top of the car and drive it roughly highway speeds. And guess what? No matter which way I prod it and push it, it always snaps back to flying straight, which means this design and this rocket, and more importantly, the shell, is aerodynamically stable. And even better, I get to write this car off as a business expense when I go to register it this year.
And I did.
And all of this to land here. Our V2 Mario Kart shell. Sure, it looks a little different from the design in the game, but it's the only way to test them without the risk of it randomly spinning off course and killing us. And since the whole point of this was to launch it from my car, we also designed this, a custom aluminum launch rack that holds 3 shells and a giant steel plate protecting whoever's inside, kind of like a shield. And that's important because we learned while researching this that while everything else we're doing is technically legal, firing anything off a remote controlled vehicle definitely wasn't legal, at least according to the US's surprisingly thorough drone law. So our plan to RC control the car and fire the shells from very, very, very far away was out, and we physically had to be inside and operating the vehicle ourselves to drive and fire at the same time. Basically, instead of being here, we have to be here, which isn't ideal. So before we climbed in the driver's seat, we wanted to do a park test first where we can see what happens from very, very, very far away.
So we took back to the desert for our test fire off the car. And unlike last time, we did our homework and we're ready for success.
No. Cut that out.
But don't take it from me. Take it from me, explaining our car mount design.
So basically, it's like a big rocket launch pad, but instead of a big stick pointing in the air that it attaches to, it's a big stick horizontally. And it's attached to the top of the car with suction cups. They just rest on the glass T-top of the car, which means it gets a good suck, but all the weight is just on the glass, and we don't know if that's good.
Yeah, probably not, but at least they stick securely while we drive around, right?
Oh shit, wait, stop.
Yeah, all right, not that part either, but there is one cool part of the design, how the shells attach.
You put this thing on the shaft, and then it's got little ball bearings that slide onto the rail, so that when the rocket launches and this flies off, and then it can fly around.
Pretty good design, right?
I thought that was pretty cool. We didn't build it, we bought it. Someone smarter than us.
All right, let's get to the test.
So for our first stationary test, our target's Mario. It's about, 100 feet away, and we're not gonna hit him. And the wind isn't helping.
Yeah, it wasn't. But let's just skip the rest of that setup and get right to the launch. That should be fun, right?
Every single time I walk up this hill, there's always a thought in my mind that I may be a couple $1,000s poorer in the next 30 seconds. Now is one of those times. If anything happens to this car, I can't get a new one. They're old and rare. And everything's tooled to be this shape.
And that wasn't the only expensive thing that might break.
All right, quick safety meeting. If the rocket turns and comes this way, there's nothing we can do about it because they're going 300 miles an hour. Sound good?
I was trying to joke because I think I was legitimately nervous. It was really clicking just how unsure we were that this would work at all.
Are you all set?
Yes, I'm all set. Give me a clear and then I'll give you a 3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right, this may be expensive and or painful. All clear.
3, 2, 1.
Yes! Yes! Okay! Let's go. Let's go find it.
That worked awesome.
Just to give you a scale of the forces, it was the same motor. We were able to get so much more directional power out of this. It's honestly terrifying, especially knowing that I have to sit in the car while this happens.
Covered that in half a second.
Hold on. Oh. Fuck.
You're covering this in half
Oh,
a second.
shit!
Everything had worked, and well. It flew straight, it didn't hurt the car, it was accurate, it missed our impossible Mario target we set up by less than a foot. Months of work were paying off, and honestly, it seemed like nothing could go wrong. God damn it.
You got it? I don't know much about cameras. Is this bad?
It's not good.
Yeah, it started raining, which made things a lot harder. In addition to the cameras getting really wet, the real problem was right here. Yeah, the rockets got rained on, which if the fuel in the rocket gets too wet, it turns the motor from a reliable rocket into an explosive. An explosive that's going to be really close to our heads. But, you know, at least can't get any worse. Okay. Yeah, you got me. Hail is worse.
This sucks. This sucks so bad. All our toys got wet.
Bring it out.
Oh no.
Needless to say, I was not in the best mood.
Baseball fight.
You are starting. I have an RPG on top of my car, Ethan. If you want to fight, you're going to lose.
But despite that, we still had a job to do. The shells were tested, deemed relatively safe, and were ready to launch off our moving car with us inside. But one thing still wasn't solved. If we're going to be risking our lives, we better have a good Mario Kart target to hit. So, we bought one. A $1,000 van we bought on Facebook Marketplace from someone who was really eager to get rid of it. Featuring a working VHS player, numerous technical and aesthetic upgrades, and no working reverse gear, apparently. And before you get all mad about us destroying a perfectly good car, it's not.
Which I don't know what that is, but it's not good.
Sounds like a belt or something is skipping, Alex.
It sounds like it's about to blow up.
But before we launched, there was one thing we still had to do.
Windshield wipers.
Okay, we did have to remove the windshield wipers too, but that's because we're installing this tank-style front armor. It's made of steel, so it makes it easier to walk away should something explode, but admittedly, it is a little harder to see out of.
Like, jokes aside, like, how much can you see when you're driving?
None. I can't see anything. These are like pointed at the sky. Like the idea of aiming is out the window.
And with our safety considered, there's only one thing left to do.
Make sure you get that.
Yep. He's also, I hear him going like,
I was just reading my notes. I was kind of half hoping it wasn't going to start. Just so people realize how hard this is. That's what I see.
50-50.
50-50, it works or we die?
50-50.
Okay. All right, we're gonna start moving in 3, 2, 1. Moving.
little bit early.
Okay, we're okay.
Disarming. Okay, a less than successful launch, but no injuries.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What happened?
Good question. As you can see from the rocket's POV, the run-up isn't flat, so as we dipped into the big puddle, we were pointing directly at the ground. Which means, instead of hitting our target here, we punted it directly into the ground about a third of the way right here. So to avoid that, we have to launch from a different part of the run-up, so anywhere here. And all of that is to avoid that. Also, it impacted the ground so early, the shell never even hit the car. But what damage did we do?
Oh, is that us? I mean, yeah. No, this is us. This is new. That's hot. Oh, yep. We did do something. Now the door does this. I want a direct hit, especially, you know, the ricochet did leave a dent, but I want a hole. Is that a weird thing to end on? I want a hole.
Little did I know, our optimism for the next shots was a little misplaced, as we were about to learn.
We're just gonna like wait till we hit the water, and then we're gonna do it. Mainly, I'm just worried about dying. Like, even though it worked one time doesn't mean it's gonna work twice. Still good 50%?
It's probably less than that.
Okay, great. I can't see anything. Where'd it go? How did we miss? How did we win? How did we miss?
And sure, we missed again, but certainly with a shot that close, the next one is bound to hit. Right?
Test 3. Let's hit this thing. All right, rolling in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. In 3, 2, 1, hit it. No! What? I saw where it went through the slat. Dude, it went under the car. Shit. It went under the car. I cannot believe that. What do we do? Do we just...
We can get closer, I don't know.
Things were looking bad. After 3 months of work, we only had 3 shells left and no hits on the car. And with no info on how to change things to ensure a hit, we started leaning away from smarts and into guessing.
We have 3 more rocket engines for our shells. The reasonable thing to do is to shoot one 3 more times. Then we can dial it in and make sure we're in the right spot. Or we can just shoot all 3 at once in one go. And then via statistics, we'll hit it. And if not, I cut this part out.
So we loaded up all 3 shells for a 1-try-only triple shell launch. It was either hit something now or go home.
You guys ready?
We're all in position.
Drone ready?
Ready.
Okay, we're gonna roll. Please work, please work, please work, please work, please work, please work, please work. Hit it. Go, 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 go. We hit it! Go, 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 hit it!
Hey, I'm hitting it.
Oh my god! Hold the last one, hold the last one, hold the last one, hold the last one, hold it, hold it, hold it. Something didn't work, but we hit it!
You got the window.
We got right through the window! Yes!
You ready? Look at the window.
It went to the side, dude.
Hit right there. In the van. Oh no. Boink.
And that wasn't even my favorite angle.
Oh my God, this is gonna be such a cold ride home.
And while that hit was dramatic, real, and as close as you can get to the game in real life, there was one problem.
We hit at the strongest point. This is, if there's ever a place to not put a hole in the car, it is right, this is where all... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh indeed. And as much as I'd like to think this whole build is over, we need one more thing. We hit the car, but in the one place on the side of the car that's the most reinforced. And unfortunately, just like the green shells in the game, we can't ensure that they hit a weaker part of the car or hit the car at all, obviously. But what if we could turn our green shells red? And in addition to a new coat of paint, what if we added a guide wire and attached that guide wire to a heavy frame right in front of the van and another anchor point at the opposite end? Then put a hole in the shell and fed the guide wire through that hole so that when the rocket goes off, it travels down the wire and directly into the side of the van where we want it. So just like a red shell, we would ensure a hit. Well, the good news is we did do all that, and it was a pretty good idea if we wanted to see an actual direct hit.
1, hit it.
And there you go. Green shell, red shell, broken van that's been sitting in my driveway for about a month. We also shot the red shell at a ballistic gel dummy, which you guys recommended we do a lot, but that launch in of itself was such a nightmare that we kind of decided it deserved its own full video. Also, something human looking getting its head exploded was a little gnarly looking in our experience, and we don't want to get a finger wagged at us here, so we stashed that video over on Patreon, but as to not make it seem like this is just a cash grab, that video is 100% free. So go over there and watch it for free, and I guess consider giving us a few bones so we can make these videos faster. All right, bye.
May have used a little too much hot glue on the old H. Uh-oh. Good thing this is a rental table.
Craft. Fins, because they do a great job at restoring the Fins, because they do a great job of restoring the Stell.
Let's see, do I want to comment? Well, it's stuck. The car has beached itself. What the fuck? No, this one will totally make it over. All right. 1, action.
You want to shoot it again for safety?
1, go. All right, one more try.
Oh shit, that fucking great.
The bad news is it didn't explode, and we're all covered in it. It's a very rare phenomenon. Not very often do you set the earth on fire, but that's like an Indiana Jones trap. All right, well let's first glance, and then have something good. Here, let's reset.
Next problem, making this all pretty hard. A moving vehicle, and then have something good to hit. But the more we thought about it,
Do you want to be blown up in every future video? Maybe you want a cool exclusive custom PCB pin/keychain we designed and made that lights up. Ooh. Or maybe you just want a regular stream of videos like this, or 90 uncut minutes of me and the crew explaining how big of a nightmare this was behind the scenes. All of that and more is available to prospective patrons, so go sign up today. Just search for No Bitrate and you can find us and maybe give us a little bit of money. Oh.